Hi guys, this is Shawn, and I wanted to do just a little thing on elastic audio. I don't know why the hell I had so much trouble with this, but just in case there are others who do, maybe you might find this useful, and if not, so be it. I've read a lot about the use of elastic audio, and I've been involved in sessions where it was used prior to my switch over to Pro Tools. But reading about it and actually doing it are two different things, especially when it comes to watching some of the videos on YouTube, because people will say, okay, click over here, where this graphic is, and so on and so forth. Anyhow, I'm sure you know about elastic audio by now. It is useful for a few things. First and foremost, it is useful in changing the entire tempo of a song. And speaking of being more refined, it's useful in tightening up tracks with with the click track or with one another, which is something that we won't get into this time. I think start with the basics. Start with the changing the entire tempo of a project first, and then get involved with dealing in smaller, finer regions and kind of tightening those up. So, to change the tempo of a song, it's pretty basic. I had a client a couple weeks ago who he wanted me to do a banjo track, guitar track, and mandolin track for him, and he was doing vocals and bass. He sent me the arrangement, the key and tempo info, and unfortunately I got right on it. Usually I wait a day or two, but I had some downtime and I got right on it. And I finished everything out and opened up my email, and I've got a new message from him saying, hey, I know I told you 120, but can you do that at 125? And I'm thinking, well, I already did it at 120. So, but the beauty in Pro Tools is elastic audio. I can make this 125 now, right? So, it saved me a lot of headache once I actually figured out what I was doing wrong, and to be truthful about it, I don't really know what I was doing wrong completely. I was just overcomplicating it, couldn't see the forest for the trees. So I've just exported down, kind of chopped those 3 stereo tracks up to where we just have the solo portions of those, not just a 3-minute selection with backing and solos. And we're going to change the tempo of this. So the first thing we want to do, I'm sitting in the edit window.
Track list pop-up button.
And I'm going to
menu items, show all tracks. Press track list pop.
Make sure I'm showing all tracks with the track list pop-up button. And I won't do any fancy navigation here in case someone is kind of new to Pro Tools. But we've got all tracks shown.
Ruler shows PU. Clip. Selected. Tempo editors. Add tempo. Check clips. Take keyboard focus. Reuse. Tempo resolution pop-up button.
I'm just right arrowing through.
Dense. Tempo edit density. But add mirror chain. Add markers. Edit window views. Linearity display mode. GTR part.
So on our linearity display mode, we want to make sure that's in ticks.
Menu 2 items check mark. Linear tick display.
And it is.
Press. Linearity
but
display.
You want to activate that button with VO space and make sure to set your project to ticks, not samples. And now we're going to enter the area of our tracks.
GTR RTHM audio track.
And my guitar rhythm track is the very first track. I'm going to interact with that. Now I'm using Pro Tools 12.2, and something that you guys probably know from listening to Slaw's What's New tutorial is when you interact with a track, you land on the name field. If you left arrow,
track options pop-up button.
you get that track options pop-up button. I'm going to activate that.
Menu 4 items. Elastic audio. Submenu.
Now, it's very likely you don't have
Press track option.
elastic audio enabled automatically, as I don't. And that's going to be the first thing that we land on, as we just heard, and that's a sub-menu. I'm going to open that with the right arrow.
Elastic audio. Submenu. 8 items. Check mark. None. Disable elastic audio.
And we hear that none is checked. So if we arrow down, we're going to get our various options.
Polyphonic.
Polyphonic,
Rhythmic.
rhythmic,
Monophonic.
monophonic, and so on. Being that this is a 6-string guitar playing more than one
You are
note
currently on a menu.
at a time, we want to use polyphonic.
Rhythmic. Polyphonic.
I'm just going to hit enter on that.
Closing menu. Closing menu.
And of course that closes my menu out.
Pop up.
Well, actually there's another thing in the track options you want to change. So I'm going to open that back up.
Menu 4 items. Elastic audio. Submenu.
And we see I landed on elastic audio again. Now if you up arrow
Track options.
in this menu,
Track height.
we're all the way at the top now. Track height is the first thing.
Track time base. Submenu.
Aha, track time base is the second thing. And that's a submenu. If we open that,
Track time base. Submenu. 3 items. Check mark. Samples.
samples, ticks,
Check mark. Selection changes alternate playlists.
and selection changes alternate playlist, which you're probably going to want to do if you have multiple playlists in your session. In this instance, we don't. We just have 3 stereo tracks and no alternate playlists. But here is a very important thing.
Check mark. Samples.
We hear that the samples option for the time base is checked. We want that to be ticks.
Ticks. Closing menu.
I go to
Closing
ticks and press enter on it. Now you're going to want to do this for all your tracks. So I'm going to stop interacting with the guitar
Stop
track.
interacting with GTR RT8 audio zoom in. MIDI's. Mando.
And the mandolin track is the next one.
Interact with Mando. Audio track. 12 items. Mando. Track name. Mando. Pop-up button.
And I'm going to do the same thing here. Left arrow.
Track options. Pop-up. Menu 4 items. Elastic audio. Elastic audio. Submenu. 8 items. Check mark. None. Disable. Polyphonic. Closing menu.
Polyphonic
Track
because it is an 8-string instrument.
Menu 4 items. Elastic. Track time base. Track height. Track time base. Submenu. 3 items. Check mark. Samples. Ticks. Press. Track options. Pop. Closing menu. Track options.
And I've changed that to from samples to ticks.
Stop interacting.
Stop interacting.
Banjo. Audio track. Interact with banjo. Audio track.
Just the same thing here.
Track options. Pop-up. Menu 4 items. Elastic audio. Submenu. 8 items. Check mark. Polyphonic. Closing menu. Track off.
Made that polyphonic.
Menu 4 item. Track time base. Track time base. Submenu. 3 items. Check mark. Samples. Ticks.
Change
Press
that
track.
from samples to ticks.
Closing menu. Close. Stop interacting with.
And now we're good to go in theory. We have changed our linearity display mode from samples to ticks. We have changed each of our tracks time base from samples to ticks. And we have, in this instance, enabled polyphonic in elastic audio. And of course, there's plenty of accurate reading you can do on this, but like a vocal, you would do monophonic on a single vocal, and things like a flute or something like that. Rhythmic, obviously, for percussion, but polyphonic for things that play chords or more than one note at a time. Guitars, pianos, so on and so forth. So we've changed our time base on everything, project and tracks, and we have enabled
with banjo.
Polyphonic on these 3 tracks. Now, where we are is, it sounds a little like this. I'll turn the click track on. We are at 120, and I'm going to left arrow back.
Mando. Edit window view. Add mirror. Tempo. Edit density. Dense. Tempo resolution. Pop up. Reads. Keyboard focus. Clips. Table. Add tempo change. Selected. Add tempo.
To add tempo change, this is where I usually put my tempo in. I'm going to activate this button. Actually, first I'm going to make sure I'm at the top of the project.
Tempo changed window. Snap to bar. Checked. Checkbox. Look. 1 vertical line. 1 vertical. BPM. 1 2 prep.
And I'm working under the assumption that everybody knows how to use how to edit tempo here. But you just right arrow over to the box where you would enter a new numeric value. So that was 120. Let's do 125.
OK button. Now in Shawn demo record.
Now I'll turn the click track back on. So you can probably hear the difference there. And let's say that we wanted to go a little farther. Let's say we wanted to go from 120 to 135. I'm going to undo. You don't have to do this.
Undo change time base.
But I like to, if I'm going to get rid of something, I know this 125 is not going to work for me, that I definitely need faster. Then I like to undo back.
Tempo. What? BPM. 120.0000.
And let's go to 135.
Press add tempo change button. OK button. Now in Shawn demo recorded.
So how does this sound? Pretty good.
Window. Add tempo change button.
But let's say I don't like that.
Change time base.
Let's say I want to get crazy with it. And on acoustic instruments, you can only go so far. But, you know, let's assume that we've got drums and we're not dealing in something that's as rich in harmonic material. Maybe we've got a lot of MIDI. Let's say we want to go to 150. We're going to go from 120 to 150 here. Let's refresh our ears. What does 120 sound like? Okay.
Tempo change. Win. 1 vert. BPM. 120.0000. OK button. Now edit. Shawn demo record.
Now let's check this. Okay.
Undo change time.
Let's get crazy.
Tempo change. 120.0 resolution. 120.00.
Let's go 160.
OK button. Now in.
So now we're actually 40 beats faster than the original tempo. So what is this doing to our tracks individually, you might ask? Well, I have the guitar track selected so I can solo that up, being that that's probably the most rich track we have. Getting a little warbly there at 40 beats.
Undo change.
As I said, though, if you know, especially dealing in percussion, you can sound pretty good at 40 beats ahead. Let's just get stupid. Let's go 60 beats up.
Tempo change. Window. 1 vertical. BPM. 120.0000. Press add tempo. OK button. Now edit. Shawn.
Pretty warbly, and it's really going to make the banjo suffer.
Undo change time base.
So we're back to 120 again. 120 sounds pretty damn slow now, right? Well, let's say we had the opposite problem. We need to slow this track down.
Tempo change. 3 vertical line. BPM 120.0000.
Let's go to
Press at
110.
OK button. Now in.
See how that sounds. I'm going to solo up the guitar here. So we're not suffering at all 10 beats either side of this. Well, what about 20 beats?
3 BPM 110.0000. Numeric entry text. Edit text. Press OK button. Now
Take her down to 100
Shawn
even.
demo recording.
I can hear a little bit in the guitar when I solo it up.
Tempo change button.
So
Undo insert tempo event. Undo change time pick.
let's go back to 120. How's that sounding? How about 90?
Tempo change. 1 BPM 120.0000. Numeric entry text. Edit text. OK button. Now in.
Still could probably get away with that. You could get away with 30 beats in some cases, I think.
Undo change time.
So that's how you do it. It's pretty basic. Just make sure all of your tracks, which contain material, obviously you don't have to do this on a reverb aux track or something, or your master fader, but your audio tracks, MIDI tracks, make sure that you are set to tick bass on each one of those and set up, check your elastic audio for the option which is applicable, whether it be rhythmic, polyphonic, monophonic, and in your linearity display mode, make sure to change that from samples to ticks.
Keyboard focus.
And that's pretty much it. So hope this helps somebody, and if not, well, hey, you know, it's entertaining if nothing else, right? Take care, guys.